This video is about the FPGA programming subject under the JNTUH University, and it is a professional elective too, and it's in the final year for one semester. So we will start the unit 1 and chapter 1. In unit 1, it consists of 3 parts: SPLD, simple programmable logic devices; CPLD, complex programmable logic devices; and FPGA, field programmable gate array. In the chapter 1, it consists of 4 different parts. One is the PROM, programmable read-only memories; second, PLA, programmable logic array; third, PAL, programmable array logic; and masked gate array, ASIC. ASIC means application specific integrated circuits. So total 4 devices are there: programmable read-only memory, PLA, logic array, and array logic, and ASIC. So what is the programmable logic? Basically, these are devices which can be programmed again and again for different type of applications. For one application, if you are using it as a mux or switch, in the second application you can reprogram as a demux. In third application you can reprogram as the decoder. So for different applications we can reprogram the devices. These are called the reprogrammable logic devices. All these comes under the CMOS logic because every electronic device is under the CMOS. CMOS is the complementary metal oxide semiconductor. It's a layer by layer arrangement to form the different transistors and different inverters. So under CMOS logic we have different categories. Standard logic, these are implemented single functions, okay, not more than one function. Then we have microprocessors and microcontrollers. These are depends on the these are designed by the manufacturers. For example, 8086 microprocessor, 8051 microcontroller, these are designed by Intel company, and only depends on the these are actually general purpose. So any type of application, either you are making a minor or major project, you can use them for different type of applications. Third is the programmable logic devices. These are categorized as we told in starting of unit 1, that is SPLDs, CPLDs, and FPGA. Third is the ASIC, application specific integrated circuits. Microprocessor, controllers, and PLA, PROM, these are all general purpose. Anyone can use them for any type of application, but ASIC are dedicated only for a particular application specific. For example, you are designing a ASIC for the washing machine, so that cannot be used for the refrigerator. And if you design ASIC for refrigerator, it cannot be used for the microwave oven. So these are application specific ICs which are dedicated for a particular application. Logic circuits can be divided in 2 parts. Basically, first we have the standard logic circuits which realize single function or set of functions once defined and with no possibility of changing. So once we define the function in the standard logic circuits, this cannot be changed. If you design the IC for the multiplexer, it is used for the only multiplexing switching applications. It can't be used as a demultiplexer. While in the programmable logic circuits, it contains great number of standard logic circuits. A large number of standard logic circuits are there instead of only single circuit. Possibility of realizing many various functions. Many functions can be implemented there because we have a number of standard logic circuits there. Hardware can configure anytime. User need to only by programming. So hardware can be configured at any times because there is programming mechanism is there. We can program the devices with different mechanisms. So by that programming mechanism, we can use them for different applications. So hardware can be configured for different type of applications by providing different programs. Then major programmable logic architectures, as I told you, so we have 4 categories: standard logic, microprocessor controller, programmable logic, and ASIC. In programmable logic we have SPLD, CPLD, and FPGA. It is a simple integrated circuit that comes in the plastic package. In every laboratory we have different ICs there, so which are black colored plastic ICs. So basically in a IC, in between there is the chip. Chip is made by silicon material. On silicon substrate we form different type of circuits. That circuit is dedicated to particular application, and we have input output pins on the ICs. These are internally connected to the chip. Okay, these are not just connected to the plastic case, but inside the plastic case there is a silicon substrate based chip. On that chip different pins are connected, so from which we get the inputs and outputs. Now what are the SPLDs? Simple programmable logic devices. These are the least complex form of PLDs. These are the least form of the programmable logic devices. These developed first. Many typical replace several fixed function SSI or MSI devices and their connections. So SPLDs replaced many SSI small scale integration and medium scale integration devices. So instead of multiple SSIs, we can use a simple one SPLD. A typical package has 24 to 28 pins. The pin size vary from 24 to 28, and a few categories of SPLDs or type of SPLDs are PAL, programmable array logic, generic array logic, programmable logic array, and PROM, programmable read-only memory, and another one is ASIC. So these are types of or categories of the SPLDs. Then CPLDs, they have much higher capacity than SPLDs, permitting more complex logic circuits to be programmed into them. A typical CPLD is equivalent of from 2 to 64 SPLDs. So CPLDs are made by combining 2 to 64 SPLDs. Many SPLDs are combined together to form a CPLD, and they come in 44 pins to 160 pin package depending on the complexity. So pin number increases in the case of CPLDs, and it is from 44 to 160 pins. There are several forms of CPLD which vary in complexity and programming capability. So many forms of CPLDs are there. Many companies produce the CPLDs. One leading company is the Altera Corporation, which gives the CPLDs, and in the next video we will discuss the architecture, complete internal architecture, functional block, input output blocks, and the switching matrix of the CPLDs that are designed and fabricated by the Altera Corporation. So CPLD is a complex form which itself consists of many of the SPLDs in between them. Because many SPLDs are there, so it is capable to implement the complex function. Then FPGA, their architecture is basically different from SPLD and CPLD. They have the greatest logic capacity, consist of an array of anywhere from 64 to thousands of logic gates, groups that are sometimes called logic blocks. So in FPGA there are rows and columns of the logic blocks. These logic blocks consist of different type of components, and these components are programmed together to make a device. Two basic classes of FPGA are coarse grained and fine grained, and the FPGA come in packages ranging up to 1000 pins. So 1000 pins are possible in the case of FPGAs because these are most complex devices, and these can implement most functions as compared to SPLD and CPLD. So the first topic which comes under the SPLDs is PROM, programmable read-only memories. So it's a example of the ROM cell. It is the single bit device which can store a single bit. Either we can store 1 or 0. 1 means logic high and 0 means logic low. So the circuit consists of two lines, PERD line and data bit line. With the data bit line, pull-up register is there. Pull-up register consists of the high potential, that is plus 5 volt. When the circuit is not connected, when the ROM is not programmed, so it will give the value 1. Logic 1 is given by when there is no connection of the ROM cell, when ROM cell is not programmed. So 1 means on the pull-up register we have the high potential, it means logic 1. It will give the binary 1 value. When there is when we make a connection from MOS cell, so you are seeing here one dash line. So dash line means it is a programmed connection. When we make a connection, so it will become a hard line, and there is a connection between pull-up resistor to ground. So at that point the potential from pull-up resistor will be grounded to the will be grounded. So that is why at this point the potential will become 0. So when the ROM is programmed or connected, it will give the logic low value. When it is not programmed, it will give logic 1 value. It is the one-time programmable diode based PROM cell. Instead of MOS, we are using the diode. So P is connected to word line and N is connected to the data bit line with the help of a fuse. One fuse is there. If we make the fuse, so it will give the 0. If there is no fuse, it will give the 1. Second connection which can be possible is the BJT based one-time programmable PROM cell. It is the BJT based. The concept is same. When we have to give 0, so fuse is connected there because it is the one-time program. So when we make the fuse, so it will become permanent. PROM cells are used in different combinational as well as sequential circuits. In the case of sequential, it can be used in a state machine. Okay, in the state machine, it is example of state machine. So output is connected to the flip-flop. Okay, so different combinations can be possible. PROM can be used in simple circuit or combinational circuits or sequential circuits. Anywhere it can be used, but it will store the single bit value. Next is the PLA, programmable logic array. It consists of two planes, AND plane and OR plane. The inputs are connected through the AND plane and the output of AND plane is connected to input of OR plane, and the output of OR plane is the final output of the PLA. The AND plane, as you know, is used to provide the product terms. So first inputs are connected through the AND plane, so it will perform the product terms. Then product terms are connected to the OR plane, then product of sum is performed. So any number of inputs can be connected there and we can get the any number of outputs based on the combinations that are performed in AND plane and OR plane. In the input side, we can also connect the inverters there to invert the signal. For example, you want to implement A bar B plus B A bar, A bar B plus A B bar. So in that case, two inverters are used. So on input, we can also connect the inverters before the product terms. So inverters can be there before the AND plane. Then inputs are connected to the AND plane. We get the product terms. These product terms are then connected to the OR plane, and from the OR plane we get the final output. It is the basic PLA, and different languages are there to program the PLAs. Then PAL, programmable array logic. The problem with PLA is that the number of inputs and outputs can be of any number. There is no limitation of number of inputs and outputs. So that is why it takes lot of chip area. It consumes lot of power. So in order to improve this in PLA, we are using a fixed OR plane. The OR plane is fixed, but the AND plane is not fixed. It means in the AND plane side, when we giving the inputs, so any number of inputs can be there. Then we on the AND plane we perform the product of the input terms. So that product terms are connected to the OR plane. But at this point, these OR planes are fixed. So we have a limited number of OR gates. So OR functions can be implemented to a defined number of product terms. For AND plane we have a limited number of gates, but for OR plane these are limited. OR plane is fixed. So this diagram is for the PAL. On the input side we have inverters as well. Based on the combination we can use either direct value or inverted value. These are connected to the AND gates, and these output of AND gates, the product terms, are connected to the OR gates to get the sum value. So in the difference between PLA and PAL is that major difference is that in the case of PAL the OR plane is fixed, the OR terms are fixed. Then we have fourth SPLD device is the masked gate array ASIC. ASIC is the application specific integrated circuit. These are dedicated to a particular application. So in the case of ASIC, the vendor provides the different libraries. The user can directly pick the components from the libraries. So there is no need to know about the complete semiconductor technology. Directly by pick and place, we can design the ASICs. So it's a basic structure of ASIC IC. On the peripheral, there are 4 different input output pads. Pads are used to make the connections. In between, there is different logic elements are present there. Logic blocks are there, different components are there. So based on our application, the components are connected with each other to get the output. So afterwards, the inputs and outputs are connected to the input output pads. So it is the basic structure of the ASIC, that is application specific integrated circuit. Depends on the application, we can design a ASIC. Afterwards, it will not change. It will become permanent, and it is used for a particular application only. So it's about the different type of devices which comes under the SPLDs. First was the PROM, programmable read-only memory. In that we have the ROM cell, then different type of PROM structures, diode based, and second is BJT based. Then we have PLA, then PAL, then ASIC. So it's about the first chapter of the unit 1.